Okay, welcome back. So let's get back to this drawing here. Drawing a tower, castle. Start by drawing a three-dimensional rectangle box shape. You must use perspective, as seen in page 6 of 7. So decide on your eye level and vanishing point at this stage. So let's do the basic. Okay, I'm going to keep it somewhat small at an angle here. Bring it in a little bit more. So basically what you're drawing here is a cube, rectangle, and longer and higher than it is wide. And I'm kind of eyeballing it for the perspective here. As you can see, it's way over there, and this one's way over there. I'm keeping it light and sketchy. Parallel lines here. Another parallel line. Now it says use this with a ruler, but again, it's just practicing the fundamentals quickly without, I'm not doing a serious drawing here. Okay, the next one, add a tower at each corner. I don't know if you can see it, I'm trying to get that in focus. Add a tower at each corner of the keep. You can use a ruler to make sure the initial construction lines are straight. Freehand drawing will look more interesting after that. X-nay on that for me. This is already pretty small, so it's going to be tough for details, but again, this is why you practice drawing straight lines. In my course, there's plenty of practice that you do. Even good for returning champs. Coming back to drawing straight lines and practicing that muscle memory. Alright, so I got that going on there. And in the back, they've connected the bottom. So again, right at this corner here, circle in. Again, parallel line, and then right here, bring that down because it's a rectangle cube. Okay, might be a little off, but that's okay. Just practicing here. And then here, we have the top of the tower. Alright. And then they've kind of had, this is where it gets kind of interesting. Right there. And then this comes up. And I'm just following along what they do here at this point. And so this is where you want some consistency here. And drafting and drawing cubes, like I say, probably get a good drafting book. That always helps. Ooh, this is a little off right here. So here, you want this to be consistent. So you have the tops of these corners. And then over here, same thing, you want the consistent corners going to that same vanishing point. Keeping it light and sketchy, keeping it fluid. Alright. Keeping it fluid. So I'm not committing too much, and I can erase any mistakes that are being made. Alright, so there's a bit going on up there. Take a look at this. Yeah. Probably better to do a bit bigger, but there we go. And now they want you to get pretty detailed here. Draw in a battlement or crenellations to the top of the castle walls and towers. Mark in the position of the windows. Work your... Oh, that's the next one. I'll hold off on that. Alright, so that's easy. The hardest part is these tops, these battlements, and erasing what needs to go a little bit. Let me work on that. So here I've erased, alright, some of the guidelines there, and I'm going to put in some of the details that they have. This can get a little tricky, so here again, it's just a sketch, so it doesn't have to be perfect, just enough to practice the fundamentals. Let's put these doorways in. Alright, right here. This is where it gets a little tricksy. Alright. One. This I can screw it up on here. That should be straighter. And right here. And then there's another line going that way. Alright. And there's another doorway right here. Alright, so we got those doorways in. Now let's do the battlements. Something like this. It's a guideline. I'm just going to do 3. Keep it simple. Alright, same on this other side here. And in the middle here they have like a roof, like an edged roof. Slant it down, keep it consistent, these slants. And now I'll do the rest of the battlements. Oh yeah, so this right here, I should do this first. Notice there's another side to that. Alright, I'll meet you back here. Okay, so it took a little bit of extra work. This is why I use a mechanical pencil, so I can get small details in there, but pretty much able to make it work with some finagling and looking at the picture. Trying to make these things consistent across the board here. I'm not going to lie, this isn't easy for a beginner, if you're a beginner, or even a kid, to draw this perfectly. But again, it's the fundamentals. Don't worry about it being perfect. You know, if you have to do this a few times, do it a few times. If you still don't get it right, oh well. I darken this part right here just so I can easily identify the roof from the rest of the corridors there, the hallway. Okay. Now the next picture, and this shape isn't for amateurs. You know, you kind of got to know what you're doing rectangle wise and triangle wise. Just drawing this kind of shape takes practice, but I was able to do these edged bottoms here, and I'll erase these lines here. But so the next part is the tough one, because all the details. The brick works easy enough. That's a little tricksy right there, but that's doable. The hard part is the battlements. Filling in these battlements just right. That's going to take a little bit of getting in there because they're so small. So I can just do a very bare minimum. I don't know if you can see that because the light's pretty bright. And try to connect them in a way that makes sense. But it's going to be tough. So let me work on those and I'll get back to you. Okay. Make these even. So you see what I did. I did some minor brickwork. I didn't overdo it with the brickwork, but I gave you some, you know, here and there. Sorry if this light's too much. I put these straight lines going across so that they match. Put a little bit of brickwork there. Put the fencing over the stairway, which is very modern. More of a modern thing done to a castle. I'm sure they didn't have that fence back in the day, but yeah. So I filled it in. I just did very minimal. Sorry for my throat. I got a bit of a cold, but very minimal lines in the battlements. Very minimal since they're so small, but you can tell they have a little bit of depth. And right here, the line's kind of going three-dimensional, like cubes right there. Try to do the same top, but it's so small, it's just hard to get that in. Again, it's more about the fundamentals. This is just messing around. If I was being for real, I'd, you know, get a regular piece of paper instead of just a folded one like this. But yeah, so there you go. It looks all right. Not perfect. You know, never is. This window's seems a little bit shorter than that, but that's because of the angle. There's some more. You notice the half circles I did right here with the brickwork. Yeah, so there's a couple windows I left out right here and here, but that's okay. That's all right. All right. Thanks for watching. I'm going to do probably a couple more videos on castles here. And one focuses on battlements from above. So thanks for watching. Practice this if you want. Don't worry about getting it wrong. See, that looks a little curvy there. Now that I look at it, that's okay. Again, it's all in the practice and how often you practice. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. 10 seconds a day.